4-point game. Next Laker possession. It's Luka, it's Dorian Finney-Smith, and the Lakers have the lead. Luka carrying the load despite the injury, but fourth quarter, 1-point game, 6.5 to go. Luka, the teardrop, Jay. 28 points for Luka, but then these fourth quarters have not been kind to the Lakers. Timberwolves, no good from three, but it's Rudy Gobert, the game of his life. 27 points, 24 rebounds. Also dominant, Julius Randle taking it strong.
Remember that trade? Everybody was wondering what's going to happen with Cat. Julius Randle proved that he was the second best player on the court last night.
Randle had 23. LeBron knocking down a three from the corner. He had 22. It's a 2-point game. 2.5 minutes to go. The lead is 4 for the Timberwolves. Mike Conley to Anthony Edwards. He scored just 15, but that made the lead 6. It's 3 when it's Edwards. It's Conley in the corner. It's a 6-point game again. Next Laker possession, desperation time. Fourth quarter's not kind to the Lakers in this series. They would score just 16 fourth quarter points last night, and that is all she wrote for this edition of the Los Angeles Lakers. Minnesota survives and advances to the next round. And for the Lakers, the questions.
Every season that I did not make it to the finals or did not win a championship has been a disappointment. So it'd be the same for me, you know. It'd be the same off season of disappointment and unfulfillment, you know, have an opportunity, you know, to play longer and give yourself an opportunity to play for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. So nothing changes for me.
I think I didn't play the way I should. I think as a team we didn't play the way we could. But I think congratulations to Minnesota. They played hell of a series. They were the better team, honestly.
Okay, we have a lot of time to talk about this, and we have exactly the right people to do it. We got to get D-Wood. Get a box of tissues for the big fellow over here. The man is sad. Okay, Mr. Wilbon, we start with you. What are the right things to say? We'll get to Minnesota. They're going to move on. They're going to have a chance to try and take the step they didn't take last year and try and play for a championship. We'll see who they wind up getting in the second round. But what are the right things to say about this edition of the Lakers who came to an end last night?
First of all, Greeny, I know it's early and I'm out here in the West and I'm confused because D. Wood is on the wrong side of the set. Well, I've never seen him sit on that side of the set, so I'm starting the show confused that D. Wood's over there.
I needed to see Hembo today, and I can't when D. Wood is on this side. He blocks
That's
out
called
the
setting the screen. That's setting a real screen.
Yeah.
Listen, the Lakers weren't good enough. I mean, we knew that the roster was flawed. We knew that even when, they got Luka Doncic. At the time, I don't think people were running around responsibly saying that the Lakers are going to win a championship or even get to the conference finals. But then they put on the burst in the difficult mayhem of the Western Conference to get to the third seed. And when that happens, when people don't still really believe in Oklahoma City and everybody else is just in this log jam from 2 through 9, and the Lakers sort of separated themselves a little bit, just enough to get to the third seed, you're like, wait a minute. And LeBron and Luka just sort of took to each other, if not instantaneously, then quickly. And so, once again, we all got carried away with what we thought the Lakers could do. And it's clearly a flawed roster. And I know we're not talking about Minnesota yet, but when you turn Rudy Gobert into Rudy Go-Wilt, or at least a version of Moses Malone, and he goes career highs 27-24 in the playoffs, and you can't stop him at all, and you decide you make a conscious decision, another gamble that, J.J. Redick took to say, wait a minute, if I have the one guy over a 6'8" we have on the floor, we can't generate any offense, and we need some because we're last 16th among the 16 playoff teams when it comes to scoring, shooting percentage, three-point percentage. We're last in all those things, so we can't make that substitution. That's a coach's prerogative and a choice, and he had to live with it, and he didn't live with it. So there's so many things to say about the Lakers. They ran into a team that's been there before. Of course, Luka and LeBron have on their own, but not together. The Minnesota Timberwolves, we just saw, they just knocked out the defending champs a year ago and smeared them in a couple of games in Denver. So this probably shouldn't be any kind of surprise, but because it's who it is, LeBron James and Luka Doncic and the Lakers, we have postmortem forever.
Windman, obviously you were there. You were on with me the day after the trade, to Michael's point, and you said this is not a trade made for this year. But they did give us these glimpses. They did give us these moments that made us wonder, that made Damian Woody dancing around on our set here and all the Laker fans dreaming of championships, because that's all they think about anyway. Windy, what are the right things to say this morning?
Yeah, we're just gonna make this real easy. This is about three things. One, as Mr. Wilbon said, it's a flawed roster. When they decided to rescind the Mark Williams trade back in February and they weren't going to have a starting center, they knew they were going to be in trouble. There was a pathway for them to play where they could really do some damage, but it was a narrow pathway, and they fell off of it pretty quickly. Secondly, and I don't mean this in a personal way, J.J. Redick coached very immaturely in this series. He was still seething and upset about the previous games, to the point where Reggie Miller said on the broadcast last night he had to try to calm him down in the pregame meeting because JJ was acting, frankly childishly. He stormed off in the pregame session with reporters. Regardless of the question, it's not the way to start. And then he not only did he double down on his, frankly irrational decision not to substitute for an entire half in a playoff game, he doubled down on that. And then in this game, he played a guy who hadn't played in 3 months ahead of centers that he had on his roster. He played Maxi Kleber. He had never even practiced with the Lakers. Maxi Kleber's on the court with 5 minutes to go in like a 2-possession game. That is not a rational decision. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't even know if Mark Williams was on this team, whether JJ would have played him. And that's just not, I suspect in retrospect, JJ will realize he didn't put the Lakers in the best position to win. And then the third thing is the Lakers didn't get their best from their star players. Austin Reeves had a terrible series. Obviously the Wolves had something to do with that. He just didn't deliver. He was great towards down the stretch of the season. He didn't deliver, period. Luka Doncic was sick in Game 3 and he hurt his back in Game 5. That's unfortunate. He obviously needs to get in better condition, but I will point out that this is that he was on a roster that went to the finals last year in basically the same condition. And then LeBron James, after playing really well in the middle of this series, he looked tired and old last night. He looked like a 40-year-old, especially down the stretch of this series, and that's just the reality. For the Lakers to do anything, they needed all three of those guys to be great. None of them were great.
Yeah, LeBron last night played 40 minutes and change, 9 of 21 from the floor, 22 points. Jay, go.
There's a lot of things to unpack here. Here's my headline. Ant was 0-11 from the three-point line.
Yes.
He shot 15% from deep, and they still sent LeBron James home in 5. This wasn't about shot making. This was about identity. This Minnesota Timberwolves team, they out-toughed, they out-rebound, and they out-schemed the Lakers. That's my overall takeaway from the game. As it relates to J.J. Redick, everything that Windhorst said, to part of it, I kind of agree with, but I also disagree with.
Chào các bạn, mình đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng với tiêu đề là máy xay. Bây giờ mình sẽ bắt đầu làm.